Zach Wild here with Jabby Burns on Channel BSR. What's up, Jab? How are you?
How are you, Zach? Well, you know how I am. Not particularly great today. That's another sport, but great season by our boys either way.
Yeah, I'm with you. The shades are open. It's a gloomy day,
Yes.
and that's sort of how I feel inside as well. So.
Yep, I'm kind of with you on that. It's one of those deals though. Expectations bring bigger disappointment sometimes, and that's what happened with this baseball team. So,
No
but
doubt.
you got to learn to lose to learn to win.
No question. You know what would make me feel a little bit better is winning me some money.
Yes, we
Can you
all
help
would
me out
like
with
that. Well, we can. And last week we had one of those, I like to call it, I put it in the post here, not our best week, let's put it that way, especially from the Survivor side. Seattle lost at home. I know that's something that I preach to the mountaintops about, Seattle never losing at home. Well, they did. They lost at home, and Cincinnati tied. Now, depending on the situation you're in, depending on if you're in a Survivor pool that takes ties as a win to help you survive an event, you're okay, but some pools you're out of it. And then, of course, we had Arizona as well. I should just still go against the Redskins all year. They're a terrible, terrible football team. I don't know what's going on. So we went 1-2 Survivor-wise on that side, which is kind of pathetic. So we're 11-4 overall. But on the ATS side, another mixed bag there. 1-2. We had the Browns, who, I mean, they're covering machines, Zach. They're 3-0-2 now against the spread. That's all they do is cover.
Wow.
Terrence West, my boy, wasn't even in the lineup, wasn't even there. Some practice issues, I guess, going on there in Cleveland. But that's here nor there. They got a big, big win over the Steelers. So now we'll see what happens going forward. So we got to get some winners this week, Zach, and let's start it off with some survivors, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it. It's getting later in the season. We're at week 7, so who's your top pick?
I mean, I would really, really say that New England will probably be destroyed. Now, there's some weather situations. This is going to go out tonight. The game is tonight, New England playing the Jets. And there could be some weather-related things. You've seen what's happening here in Baltimore with the weather. It's heading north. But I don't see how the Jets score points. I mean, they're just pathetic. They lost to my Bolts 31-0 2 weeks ago. Then the last week they were in Denver. Denver comes in and takes care of business there as well. So you've got New England, you got Tom Brady, you got everybody in the mix there. So I really like New England in this spot here, laying 9.5. But I would expect the Patriots to come out and just hammer the Jets and maybe put the final coffin in Rex Ryan's, Rex Ryan, because I just feel like I don't know how this guy's gonna be able to keep his job.
Hard to imagine. Yeah. Hard to imagine that would continue to happen. You mentioned Seattle, the Seahawks, with a tough week last week, but that is not deterring your confidence for them this week, is it?
No, and it's a bounce back theory. And, I don't really like taking teams on the road. I'd rather get the Ebola virus sometimes than get teams on the road too soon. But I will say this, though. Seattle's a team that I can trust. I know I can go out on a limb there with Pete Carroll. They're a kind of team that needs this kind of energy. It's coming hard to win a Super Bowl and then have that energy the following year to kind of go out and beat everybody, because you are everybody's bulletin board material at the beginning of the year. The St. Louis Rams were up 14-0 last Monday night on San Francisco. San Francisco came storming back, and the Rams turned into who are the Rams, who we thought they were anyways, and they ended up dominating them. I see Seattle going on the road, taking care of business. Just to remind you, the Rams are an awful, awful NFC West team right now, and in that regards to the spread, which we'll talk about in a minute here, I like Seattle a lot here. You can trust Seattle on the road in this game.
All right, so New England, Seattle, your top 2 picks. Who's your third pick for Survivor?
This is going to be tough because Denver is a team. Now, this slate's not great. There's not a lot of home teams, big home favorites that you can just kind of point out. I looked at the Redskins as maybe being a champion, but like I said earlier, there's no chance I'm going to take them in any spot, let alone a Survivor situation. So you got to go with a good team with a good quarterback at home, and that's the Denver Broncos at this point. Denver Broncos coming home to play San Francisco. It's a Sunday night affair. Should be nice and prime time, but San Francisco's coming off a short week. I think that the only thing that you would have with Denver to be worried about is they got a game the following Thursday against San Diego that could be for that early season decider in the AFC West. So a look-ahead game, I just don't see that happening with Manning. I think that they get enough done here, and I think they take care of business against the Niners. So take Denver.
All right, so Week 7 Survivor picks, the Patriots, the Seahawks, and the Broncos. Let's move to your against the spread selections. What do you got for your first one?
Well, the first one people are going to say, are you still hammered from the games you've been watching with Kansas City? I mean, this series, is the Kool-Aid rolling through your body, Jeff? And I would say, yes, it is, but that's not why I'm taking the Giants here. So the Giants, last time we saw them, they just got drubbed 27-0 on national TV last Sunday night in the Lincoln, Philly. And what did we see? We talked about Dallas. Dallas went up to Seattle, made a huge, made a statement game, they like to call it, going up and beating Seattle, running the ball. DeMarco Murray's the next Jim Brown, it turns out. Well, Well, now they come home. The Cowboys come home. They get the Giants at home. So you would think this line's got to be 10, 11, something like that, right, Zach? I mean, the Giants are awful. Just lost Victor Cruz. The Cowboys are unbelievable, unbeatable. Well, here's where I see this number, and it's only 6.5, which they're screaming at you. I mean, they're yelling at you through the computer screen. Take the Cowboys. It's under a touchdown. I'm not going to fall into that trap. I'm going to go the other way. I like the Giants here. I like the points. I also see the points increasing as the weekend goes on. So you maybe want to wait on this, maybe get this closer to game time. The nugget on this one, the Giants are 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 meetings in Dallas. Wow. These games are always usually pretty tight, and I like the points in this. And this is the thing. The Cowboys aren't a good enough team, in my opinion, experienced enough with success to be able to translate it to a following week after a big win. I'm not saying that they lose this game, but I really like the Giants plus the points.
You never know what's going to happen in those division games. I know. Yep. I mean, Ravens fans know all too well. What about your second pick here?
Well, back to Seattle again, and I'm going to double up. I hate doubling up. Again, like I said, I don't like taking big favorites going on the road, but in my opinion, Seattle's one of the best teams out there. I think they bounce back huge. I could see this game being one of those 24-3 games late in the third quarter. I just feel like Seattle's defense is going to impose their will on a really bad St. Louis team that I noticed had a lot of flaws, not only running the ball, but their quarterback, Austin Davis, who they really like, looked shell-shocked in that second half, and all it took was a couple guys hitting him. And what does Seattle like to do? They press corners. They got great press corners, and they can rush the quarterback. I expect to see that. A defensive touchdown maybe from Seattle. A touchdown's too low for this team, Seattle, on the road. This game was played probably at the length. It'd be maybe 13 or 14. I see Seattle rolling in this one, so lay the 7. And here's that nugget on the Rams. The Rams are 0-4 ATS in the last 4 versus NFC West teams.
Jeez.
So they're just not happening against those. And the NFC West, loaded with monsters. Arizona's good, San Francisco's good, and obviously Seattle's defending champs. But the Rams just don't have time or the place to be able to hang with Seattle.
I always look forward to the Jabby Burns over-unders, especially when there's a Katy Perry reference. So from sportsreport.com to read it. Tell me about your over-under.
I look forward to you posting a picture of Katy Perry on that site.
All over it.
Just to let you know.
You gave me an excuse. So
I try to do that occasionally. It's better than the Ebola picture, right? That'll be much better. Chargers-Chiefs. I'm obviously a self-appointed Bolts fan. This number came out to me, and Zach, if I don't see a total between two good offensive teams, between 47 and 50 nowadays in this year's NFL, I think it's a little crazy. And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, is there weather? Well, no, the game's going to be played in San Diego. It's going to be 75 and beautiful, per usual. So where am I coming up with? The Chargers have scored 30 straight, plus 30 or more in the last 3 games. Phillip Rivers is on a monster heater, 15 touchdowns, 2 picks this whole year with passer rating of 120 in his past 5 games. That's Phillip Rivers, 7 kids and all. I really like the Chargers-Chiefs to go over the posted total of only 45. Now this, as opposed to the Giants, I think you want to get this game early. Get in now. A lot of money will be shoved on the Chargers. That's a 4 o'clock start here on the East Coast. So people start shoving their money to overs. Everybody loves overs. I've said I'm one of them, of course. But this Chiefs team has scored 41 at home against the Patriots. They only got 17 against San Francisco 2 weeks ago, had a bye week. I really like them to get some points as well. The Chargers are banged up in the secondary. So go ahead and take the Chargers and Chiefs over. And Noah agrees, 45.
Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you agree? The over-under is in the wheelhouse.
Yep, and then also real quick here, the over is 4-1 in the last 5 for the Chiefs and the AFC West opponents, and the over is 4-0. This is a really important one. 4-0 in the last 4 between these two teams. Wow. Both these teams like to go up, get it back and forth there. I expect some points to be scored over there at Qualcomm Stadium.
All right, before we wrap things up, it's Joe Flacco versus Matt Ryan. It's the Ravens versus the Falcons, and I'm already sick and tired of hearing the word elite. How do you feel about this game?
Well, I put in the post, Joe Flacco greater than Matt Ryan. I wouldn't have said that maybe 2 years ago, but that's what we got going on right now. And the thing is here, real quick on my Ravens picks, Ravens are 4-2. Your boy is 5-1 picking the Ravens so far this year. So the only loss being that Cleveland game, which Cleveland came out and still covered the number. I like the Ravens again in this spot, Zach. I think that there's 2 different things here. If you looked at both teams, look at it just on paper. You look at both teams. Outside of Julio Jones, maybe Roddy White, and maybe the left tackler Jake Matthews, player for player, I would take every Ravens player over the Atlanta player. Additionally, I think Jarman Harbaugh greater than Mike Smith when it comes to in-game coaching. I'm not talking about challenges or dealing with the media. I'm just talking about exactly with coaching in-game. The game's at the Big Crab Cake. The line's only 7, which I found interesting. The Falcons, if you go back and look, are one of the worst road teams out there. They lost at home last week by scoring only 13 points to the Bears, who have the worst defense maybe in the NFL. look at this game this way. I see the Ravens coming back, taking care of business. Gary Kubiak's offense is starting to work. I pointed that out at the beginning of the year. It was going to take a couple weeks, and it has started to pounce. Torrey Smith with 2 touchdowns last week. Campanaro, the kid from River Hill, got a touchdown. I don't anticipate them, skull dragging him like they did to the Bucs last week. I see Matt Ryan getting chased around a lot. Their offensive line's a sieve. They can't run the ball. Perfect spot for the Ravens to get out and get a big, big win and let all the Flacco, lovers over the Matt Ryan people be able to pump their chest out a little bit. I like the Ravens this one. Kind of not big. I actually think that the Falcons will get a late touchdown to cover the number, maybe a 31-25, somewhere around then. But I think it's going to be in doubt, or not going to be in doubt throughout the rest of the whole game.
Some very elite predictions from Jeb.
Yes, sir.
I hate the word.
Oh,
you can read all of Jab's work, Jab's Winning Nuggets for Week 7 right now on BaltimoreSportsReport.com. And hey, there's a picture of Katy Perry there, so enjoy that. Jab.
Yes, sir.